Hello there. Welcome. I'm Tomas Michaud, and this is Real Guitar Live, where I'm going to intend at least to answer all your guitar learning and playing questions, and or at best, at worst, give it my best shot. In any case, thank you for joining me. I'm happy to be here and welcome. And for all of you, for all of you who will see this later as a recording, welcome. I each month I do this at the first Thursday of each month, and I get some questions ahead of time, but a lot of the questions are going to be answered live here. So go ahead and put your questions in the chat. It really helps if you give me before the question, big letters question, because I can't see that well, quite frankly. Though it's a little better, I got a little bigger font. So I will try not to miss you. And if I do miss you, you can always ask the question again, and hopefully I'll see it the second time around. So here's how it's going to go. And I'll do this quick because I know some of you who have been here have heard this many times. I'm going to start by answering your questions. I'll start with the ones that are pre-submitted and then start looking in the chat. Also, at the end, when I'm done answering questions or I don't see any more, I'll go ahead and give away a $50 gift card to those who are members of my Real Guitar Success membership and have completed the monthly practice session. So we do a little drawing, in other words, and it's meant to just kind of add to the fun or to encourage practicing. The practice session is there's one practice session a day, 5 days a week, and each day the idea is to spend at least 10 minutes on the practice session. See if it's something you want to spend more time on, or just put it away and come back at the next one the next day. So, welcome again, all of you, either if you're a part of my Real Guitar Success or if you're just watching. Go ahead and start giving me your questions. I've got a few questions now, and I'll go ahead and get started. Oh, first, a couple of things. I got a new toy. I've got to show it off. I can change cameras now. Is that cool or what? Look at this. Okay. So who says I don't like buttons, huh? Okay. So now I can get a close-up on my guitar, which was kind of bothering me before when I was trying to show people stuff. And it's harder than it would seem, but the technology is getting better and better, so I found something fairly affordable that allowed me to do that. Secondly, I've got a brand new tuner, and I was just thinking I should tell you about it. Oh, wait, let's get a close-up there. How's that? There we go. It's interesting because it's not a brand name that I usually buy brand name Korg or there's a few brand names Boss that I usually buy. I used to buy Sabine. They went out of business. This is called a real guitar. I don't know if you can see it really clearly, but I just got it today and I've started to use it. So far, I'm impressed. It's easy to turn on and off. I like that. The last Korg that I stopped working, I had a heck of a time getting it to turn on and off. Just a difficult button. This one's nice and easy. Good, clear screen. Real guitar. It's called a real tuner. I just thought, how appropriate. Real Guitar School has a real tuner. It seems reasonably accurate. That's always a question of mine, with anything that's 20, 30 bucks, how accurate they're going to be. Even, some tuners are down to 10, 15 bucks. But it seems to be accurate enough as far as I can tell so far. Of course, I'll be putting it through its paces this week. The other thing I can't really tell is how well it'll hold up. Of course, that'll take time. But so far, I'm impressed. I think for a tuner that's just a little under 20 bucks, it seems to have all the criteria that I look for. One of the things I really like is a tuner I can angle many different ways. In particular, I like to turn the tuner behind my guitar headstock and then aim it up at me. And this one you can pretty much move it any which way. See, because you can't really see it that much, but I can see it really clearly. The other thing is it does have some features that I might end up using, including it has the ability to tune to different tunings. I have it set for 440, but you can make the whole thing a little sharp or a little flat. Sometimes people like to make their tuner a half step lower and then tune the guitar a half step down. It makes the strings a little easier to press, a little lighter. You just can't play with other people who are in the regular tuning, standard tuning we call it. And what else do I want to say about this? I think that's pretty much all I know. There's a few buttons I haven't tried out yet, so I won't pretend that I know about that. Let's turn that off for now. And I got it on Amazon. Like I said, a little under 20 bucks. Took a couple days to get here, which I'm impressed. And if it breaks within 30 days, I know I can send it right back to Amazon. If it breaks after 30 days, okay, I'll probably just throw it away. It's not worth the trouble to try and chase down the company. Let's get back to my face. Can we do that? Yeah. Okay, this is new. We just started figuring out how to do this. Okay, so let's start off with the first question, and I see some more questions are coming in. Great, please. Um, the first question is by Shulamit. What type of strum patterns are appropriate for a gentle lullaby and ballads? Now, when you say a lullaby, a lot of the lullaby songs are in what we call 3/4 time. The main part that you want to know about that, if you're not familiar with the time signatures, is that 3 pulses per measure. 1, 2, 3, like a waltz. 1, 2, 3, or a polka. Boom, ba, ba, boom, ba. That's 3/4 time. 3 pulses. Kind of the emphasis on the first pulse usually. So a lullaby I would probably do, if I were doing strumming, I'd start with a simple one. Especially if I was learning it, I wouldn't start with a complex strum. I would learn the song and then see if I wanted to add the strum, something different. Away in the manger, da 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 da, 3/4 time. And I'm using my nylon, so I would go like the same thing with my fingers or with a pick. If I were doing a finger picking style, I would do something to start off with simple with 3/4. 1, 2, 3, 1. Na da 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 na da 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 dun dun. Something a little more complex finger style. I don't know many lullabies. What's the famous one here? Can't think of it. But they all seem to have that kind of lilting, slow. I'm thinking of the one, rock-a-bye baby, rock-a-bye baby, do. Can't think of the melody. This is the finger picking, probably one of my first go-tos. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I would at least start there. Depending on the song and how fast it was, you might want to fancy up the strum a little bit, but I wouldn't start there. I'd start with a simpler strum and then see if you want to fancy it up. You want to put the emphasis on the melody and the singing if you're playing something like that, not on really complex guitar work. And the next question, this is by Terrence. I understand the concept of missing the last downstroke or last upstroke to change chords in time. Does this concept carry over to changing chords when playing any particular finger picking pattern? So let me clarify what he's talking about. Again, I'll use my fingers. This could easily apply with a pick. I often teach students when they're learning a strum to cut off the last maybe half beat to change chords easier. So what I'm saying is if you're strumming like this, down, down, up, and you want to go to the G, the next bar, I might skip that last up to give me time to move in the left hand, so I'll be there on time. Gives me a little breathing room. So like this, down, down, up, down. And in that upper part, I'm focusing on changing chords. Skip. Skip. So that's what he's referring to. Now, in finger picking, you can do the same thing. If your finger picking pattern is, I might eliminate that last note to give me breathing room to change chords. Here I skip the last note. Skip. Skip. And if I didn't skip it, I'd go there, but I'm skipping that note and changing chords. Skip the note. Okay. So that same concept applies to any, whether it's a 4/4 or 3/4 strum. Try skipping that last beat on the end and see if that gets you to where, gives you enough space to move to the next chord without damaging the song. And you'll, of course, as time goes on, you'll get better at switching and that'll become less and less useful or necessary. Now, he also Terrence added something about Tennessee waltz. And in this case, I don't really understand what he's saying, but I know a waltz is going to be a 3/4 time. So I don't know Tennessee waltz, but I would do a 3/4 strum and I'd skip the last beat. Actually, the last half a beat, the end of. Skip instead of going back to this note. Skip. Skip. See, it doesn't really damage the song to leave off that last little half a beat. So I hope that helps, Terrence. If you want to ask more about this, it's hard, by the way, when you ask questions about specific chord changes, there's so many other criteria I can't really tell. So I get it because where you're at, it makes sense. But if I'm not watching you play and hearing the song and I didn't even know this song, I would either need more information or kind of compress the song or the question down to something that somebody could answer without knowing all the other details, how fast the song is, the chord progression, those kinds of things. Now, let me turn over to here. And I'm going to answer a question. We'll start with Hassan. Hassan's asking, and this looks like a pretty technical question. If a song is in Phrygian C, what would the chord progression for the scale be like? Is it minor or major pattern? So I don't think I understand the question fully. Because when you say if the song is in C Phrygian and you're asking me what's the chord pattern, it seems like if you know the song, you would know what the chord pattern is. So obviously I'm just missing something. This often happens when you ask a question and you have to translate what you're thinking to somebody else, especially if I'm guessing English is not the first language here. And I think that was a reasonable attempt. Now, I think I can help a little bit. First of all, he's talking about a Phrygian scale, which I don't use very much, but I'm familiar with it. He's talking about C. That would sound like this. And rather get into the half steps and whole steps that make up a Phrygian, you could play it and figure that out, half step, whole step, so on. I think of the Phrygian scale is if I go 3 notes down, I'm thinking, what major scale is it related to? In this case, that's A flat. See, A flat, B flat, another half step C, A flat, B flat, C. There we are. Whole step, 2 whole steps. If I take a major scale and go up 3 notes in the major scale and start a scale on that note, using all the same notes as that major scale, that gives me a Phrygian scale. So another way to say that is A flat is this, A flat major. I go up 3 notes. That's what he's talking about. The C right there. I just played it down there. And now I keep going up the scale to another C. That's a Phrygian scale. Going backwards is a little harder to explain. Basically, I would go back 2 whole steps, and that would give me what the major scale is. Then I know all the chords in the major scale that are built on the major scale easy. You start with a major chord, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished chord. So, oops, A flat, B flat minor, C minor, D flat major, major, that's an E flat. Now we need a minor, and then the diminished, right? G diminished, and then I go back to A flat. So I would just use those chords if I was making up a song. In this case, Phrygian is Phrygian. See, that's not major or minor. It's Phrygian. So if I just was looking up the Phrygian scale, that's going to be a minor chord, the 1 chord, a major chord. A major chord, it's the same chords as that A flat major scale. Now I go to a minor chord, a diminished chord, and then back here, diminished, A flat major, B flat minor, and then back to C minor. Same chords as the A flat major scale, only I started and stopped on the C minor. Not a major, major, minor, it's Phrygian. Phrygian is not minor, it's not major, it's Phrygian. Okay, I hope that helps. that was sort of just a rough theory of what Phrygian is and how you figure out the chords for the scale. How I think about it, I think in relationship to what would the major scale be for whatever mode. We call those modes Phrygian, Dorian. It's Ionian is the major mode. So every mode, you could figure out what it would be, where it would be in relationship to the major mode, Ionian. So I'm going to stop there. It's sounding like a lot of technical stuff that most people probably like are going, what the heck? And quite frankly, I'm not sure how you would use this, Hassan. I'd have to know more about your individual situation, probably more than you could express in a chat. I'd need to talk to you and see what you're trying to play and what you're trying to do and what you've done before, that kind of thing. So let me go on. And I see, hi, Paul, nice to see you. And Tim, welcome. Tim says welcome, by the way. You're my last hope. Daily Dragon Gaming? Okay. I don't know if I like being the last hope or not, but I have to think about that some more. I'm getting a pixel video. Pixelated, I think he's saying. It looks really clear on my end, but I'm not surprised because I recorded the video earlier today, and I didn't like what I saw when I recorded it. But it looks perfect on my end. I'm afraid there's not much I can do. We'll have to go at audio, and afterwards I'll figure out what to do so it doesn't happen again. I think it's the software. I'm going to have to go with some different software. Thomas, this is Jack. Hey, welcome, Jack. Good to see you. Yeah, I see you. I see your chat. I guess my wife has been on this one. Hello. I've been on Chord Magic 201. He's talking about a course in the Real Guitar Success membership site. I forgot how good that is. Thanks, Jack. Oh, and somebody else says nothing's coming in clear. Question. What if a ballad in 4/4 time? And again, a ballad in 4/4 time, I would just pick a strum that's nice and slow. I would start with a simple strum. For a ballad, if it's nice and slow, it depends on the style of the ballad. Ballads can be a country ballad, it can be a pop ballad. For example, a 50s ballad, pop rock would be something like this. Something like this. Nice, simple arpeggiated finger picking pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's a 6/8. I think a lot of rock ballads are in 6/8 actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 4/4. I think maybe be more of a country ballad. Never thought about that. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the finger picking pattern I'd probably start with, an arpeggio pattern. Or if I was really, depending on my level, I might start this. It's a little easier too. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4. The reason I like arpeggiated finger picking arpeggio style with a ballad is on one hand because it kind of fills up, it's so slow, it fills up some space. On the other hand, I probably wouldn't start with a finger picking because if a finger picking is new for me or I'm still working on it, I want to get the song and I'd start with a simple strum to get the song. Then I'd try and integrate the picking. That would be the simpler version. Then maybe I'd go up to a little more complex version. Beyond that, anything's your guess. For a ballad, anything that you could slow down to the tempo, and that's the big issue with a ballad is getting the right tempo, not a particular pattern. Just about most patterns I would use for something fast could be slowed down. Let me try this one. Here's a fast pattern. Let me see what it sounds like slow for a ballad. Yeah. That's down, up, mute, up. For a 4/4, that works just fine too, depending on the style of the ballad and basically what you expect to hear in that style. Next question. Oh, he says I can't see the guitar. Here we go. Yeah, I gotta press the button, huh? So I'm down, mute, up. I like to strum a lot. And again, if I were learning a song, I'd probably just do that just to get the song, the chord changes. No complexity. Even though, this one is very natural for me, I just wouldn't make the song any more complicated than I needed to. And that's the one thing I've learned over the years is try to get the essence of the song and then start adding on to it. I used to, when I was younger, I started learning a lot of stuff and try to add it all right from the beginning, and I'd have a hard time getting the right feel for the song. I was adding things before I realized what element was creating the feel. So by backing up and going very simple, you can make choices and then see if one didn't work and go back a little bit. Okay. Let's try that. Yep. Okay. Press the button. Thank you. Thank you, Shulamit. Patricia, welcome. Traveling and still made it to the live session. Okay, so Patricia is asking a question. My grandson is almost 8 and playing a half-size guitar. Is a Yamaha Polar guitar a good next step up for him? Sounds like it could be playing a half size. In my school, I deal with this a lot, or have for many years. We're a little limited right now because of the pandemic, but for years we would start students often on 3/4 size. Half size is a little small. If I was starting something 5 or 6, a half size might be appropriate. But many 5 or 6-year-olds, the guitar's not the best choice to start. It has to do with finger strength, not just the size of the guitar. That said, there's other criteria: how big the kid is, how much they want to do it, and how much support they're going to get at home. When we get to 8, most 8-year-olds, unless they're exceptionally small, can play a 3/4 size. The reason is that I like 3/4 because they sound much better than a half size. I don't have any of them here to show anyone, but a 3/4 is pretty close, getting pretty close to a full-size guitar. A Polar size is a shape that is a little smaller than a full-size dreadnought for sure, but maybe even slightly smaller than a classical like this. This is actually a flamenco, but same size as a classical. I would say probably a Polar guitar would be, if he's using a half size, it's about the size of a 3/4 guitar. Depending on the brand, there's not like one size that every Polar guitar has to fit into, but there's a guitar called 7/8. A lot of 8-year-olds can play that, and I'm pretty sure a Polar, the body of the Polar would be about the size. The nice thing about the Polar guitar is it's going to last. You could have that as an adult. Even if you want a bigger guitar, you'd still be nice to have a Polar size for traveling, for the convenience of pulling it out and playing it. It's generally, when you have a smaller guitar, you lose a little on the low end, the bass end, but the treble kind of comes through more clear, and that's sometimes just what you need for playing and singing. I like Polar size guitars. They're just convenient to hold. Though I have full-size dreadnought, and I'm fairly comfortable with that too. Good question, yes. And I love answering questions about getting kids and grandkids to play guitar. I just think encouraging in a supportive way kids to play music is something that could benefit the rest of their life, and I'm happy to support that. Okay, next question is, oh, my guitar's still not visible. Let me just practice here for a minute. Okay, so I'm not playing anything right now. I'll remember to go to my guitar next time I play something. Ah, George, hi, from Utah. Explain your finger picking pattern. Okay, Larry, could you say that a little differently? Unfortunately, I don't know which finger picking pattern you're talking about. And if you can just elaborate on that a little bit, I'd love to show you a finger picking pattern. I just don't want to start showing you every finger picking pattern that I just played from the beginning and find out that's none of them were what you're really interested in. So I'm gonna explain finger picking pattern one way or another, and I'm hoping, Larry, you'll give me a little more information so I can make sure and answer your question. Tom, I'd like to modulate from G to A. Oh man, let's put this on the board. This is a complex question, right? Look at that. Is that cool? If you guys can see it. I'd like to modulate from G to A. He's talking from the key to G to A, going from a verse in G that ends on D to a verse in A that will start on A. What would be a good chord sequence to make that transition? That's a tough one to answer live because I don't have my time to get my head around this. What's going on here? I'll try and do, but I know something that will help you, Tom. One of the things that is my go-to resort whenever I'm modulating to another key is I think to myself, the key I'm going to, what's the 5 chord in that key? Because the 5 chord in any key tends to have it tends to create tension and push to that key. So in the key of D, the 5 chord's A. I just counted up D, E, F, G, A. That's a simple way of saying that, not accounting for when you get to sharps and flats, okay? So D, the 5 chord's A, 1 chord is D. Really sounds like the key of D, right? I made the 5 chord a 7. In other words, I made A7, not just A. So when I'm modulating, I think to myself, I want to go to the key of A. What's the 5 chord? E. A, B, C, D, E. I'll make it E7 to give it extra power. By the way, this is my first go-to. I might soften it or add some elaborate. I want to really get to that key, and then I'll decide if it fits the style and what I really want. So I'm going to A. Now, I want to go to A, so I got to integrate, just before I get there, an E7 chord to go to A. So I'm in the key of G. I'm going to do 3 chords in the key of G that are the most common chord. G, C, and D, right? And he says that the verse ends in D. I can handle that. In other words, on the 5 chord, G, A, B, C, D. That's where I got that. G, 4 chord is C. C to D is 5 chord. I'm going to go to the key of A. 1 step up, G to A. That's a common modulation, by the way, going up 1 step, especially in pop music. Da, da, da. We can do better than that. Da, 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 da. I just made that up, right? Again. Da, 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 da. I just modulated to the key of A. So I went 1, 4, 5, but in the middle of that measure, in other words, I didn't do a full measure of D there. I did half a measure E7 to prepare the listener's ears to go to the key of A. And I played the same 3 chords in the key of A just to keep it equal. One more time, key of G. Na, 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 na. Now to the key of A. Na, 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 na. I'll eliminate the melody right there. Da, up a step. Da, da, na, na, na. I just modulated the whole melody up 1 step. Best I could on the fly here. Singing's not my forte. So, nice theory lesson. This is a useful concept over and above this particular instance, and that's why I want to go there. Now, I might decide that's like too blatant. That's like too in your face. That's the obvious way of doing it. I might even want to add a few more chords or something, depending on if I'm writing a song or, again, the style. There are styles that just nails it right on the head. Okay, thanks, Tom. I got to test out my question thing. Paul, Travis picking or arpeggio? I think that might be a question, Paul, but I'm not positive. Help me out here, Paul. Would you like me to show you a Travis picking pattern? Is that, I think that's what you're asking. Oh, or maybe Paul's responding to Larry. Are you talking about Travis picking or arpeggios? Let me go on a little bit and I'll come back to that. Thank you. My grandson says hello. Hi. Am I still pixelated or fuzzy on the video? I just want to know. Again, I already got some ideas how to fix it. I just can't do it on the fly. Larry, oh, good. The first one you demonstrated when you were talking about strumming, the keyboard was not showing. Okay. Arpeggios. So let me see. What I started off showing a basic arpeggio. 2, 1, and 2, and 3, and that's a 3-beat arpeggio. So you'll notice a couple things to keep in mind. My hand stays right there. I see a lot of people starting with the finger picking, they do this. Try to keep your hand nice and close and keep it relaxed. Don't get too stressed about it. It's a habit you get into. So when your hand's close, it makes it easier to be smooth and play faster. So that's a 3-4. I want to show you a 4-4 in comparison to it. So I know this is going over and above your question. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's a 4-4 beat arpeggio pattern. Also think of it as 4 pulses. The simplest one, it's a bass and 2 and bass and 3 and. A little more complex one, not much more, would be 1 and 2 and. I'm going back down to arpeggio. 3 and then back up. 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I'm showing you what I think are the basic arpeggios that anyone who wants to do finger picking should know. These are the ones that all the other arpeggio patterns are pretty much built off of. Get your 4-4 and get your 3-4. 1, 2, 3. Start there and then start adding things like more complex arpeggios with different beats. Like here's an example. 1 and 2 and 3 and. So I've changed the rhythm. Or here's we call this a swing rhythm. Or if I wanted to add a little different style to it, I think it's more complex only in that you're using 2 fingers here. Listen. This has a lilting feel to it as opposed to straight. And depending on the song, one might work better than another. So I'm going to call out the number of the strings. 4, 3, 2 and 1 together. 3, 2, 3. When I do 2 strings together, I'll usually just call out the first string. 4, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. Now for a 4-4 beat, I just add 1 beat to that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So now I want to show kind of the other side of that, a Travis picking. A Travis picking has a lot more going on. Let me show it to you. I'm not going to, unless somebody wants me to teach it in more detail, I'm not going to, that could take me 10 minutes to explain a Travis picking. And the thing is, I already have created several lessons that'll take you to step by step. So I don't want to try and reinvent the wheel here. Here's Travis. Maybe I'll simplify it. There we go. That's a more basic Travis. And the biggest thing you'll notice about Travis picking is the bass. I start off with a pinch, pinch. And then back. Okay, so I'd be glad, let me know if I can do a little more instruction on Travis picking if that's what somebody wants. I'm not clear that that's the case, but I'll also link to a more extensive video that you can watch over and over. I have a video where I break that down because when I first learned it, I found it difficult. It's because, and I was playing classical guitar and some what looked like very complex things, but this pattern relies on kind of some automatic motions that I never used in classical guitar. You notice that offbeat, the half beat? It's on the upbeat. That was throwing me off. But by breaking it down and getting each of the steps along the way and putting it together, it's much easier, and I can make it easier for you. Okay. Did that help, Larry, or did I miss something? He says yes. I hope that means I got it. Somebody else says the video pixelated is not fine. Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. I'm pretty disappointed. I'm going to scrap this software, and I'm pretty sure that's what's creating this. It has some cool features, but and I tested it out. It didn't do this before. I don't know why it's doing it today. And I went direct to YouTube just to check it out. It's the software. Oh well. Enough about that. I don't want to waste more of your time. Any more questions? I think I answered your question, Paul, but if there's more to it, I'd be happy to talk about it some more. Yeah, and because I know it's pixelated, I'm not too excited to drag this on too long. Let me go ahead and do the drawing. Oh, let's go back to my face for that. Okay. Darn. It's this video stuff. I don't know if you guys can relate. It reminds me of like that game Whack-A-Mole. You got all these. The game is like these things popping out of holes, and you whack them, and you whack this one over here, and one comes out over here. This technology is like that. I get one thing fixed, and something else happens over here. One thing fixed, and then something out of the blue I never imagined. Once I had the camera overheat. I've got a little fan on it now, and I figured all that out. But it's always something. Though I guess, to be honest, that's probably why I like it. It's like a complex crossword puzzle, and I like figuring it out. So I'm going to keep at it. Let me do the drawing. Okay. I've got people in here who have completed the monthly practice sessions for the month of October, huh? And one of them is going to win an Amazon gift card, $50. Okay, let's see what we got. Jaime. I think I said it right. Jaume. Jaime, that's supposed to come. Jaime, congratulations. You will get the Amazon gift card probably today. And everybody else who completed the practice sessions, good job. You did a good work. With that, I'm going to take my pixelated self out of here and go see what I can do so that doesn't happen again. Thanks, Paul. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. Take care.